Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wi-Fi of Everything. I'm Robert Boardman. And
I'm Roel Dionisio.
And we have a special guest for everybody.
I'm Keith Parsons.
Welcome, Keith.
So, who are you, Keith?
I am the guy who puts on WLPC.
Yes, so we all know him.
Everyone should know who you are. And the conference.
Yes. So,
if you don't know, you should come.
Yes. If you're not going to WLPC, he's got 9 of them, I think.
6.
Six.
But that's a good target.
There's a number. He's got goals. They're all over the world now at this point in time. So, but that's not why we're here to talk about WLPC. We could talk about that maybe in a different video. But
we're here in Vegas.
Yeah, we're here in Vegas right now. We're in the lovely Surf A room, which we kidnapped.
Mandalay Bay.
We kidnapped it from Tech Field Day.
So we're going to do an episode of This Week in Vegas. Wi-Fi
style. Here. No, it stays here. It goes to you.
Yeah, we're just going to whisper amongst ourselves.
Yeah. So, what have you been doing this week, Roel?
So I am not here at the Aruba conference. I was here for the CWNP, and I'll be careful to say this because it's hard, JTA, the Job Task Analysis. And for me, I was part of the CWDP Job Task Analysis, where we are defining what a design professional role is. What do they do in the Wi-Fi industry? Talk about the writing a job description, and not the job description you typically see at a career site, but mainly about what is it that they do, what are their responsibilities, the tasks that they do, and then
how did you break out? Because a lot of us are pretty broad.
Yes.
And design is just a subset.
Mm-hmm.
How did you put the edges on that?
Yeah, so a lot of us wear a lot of hats. And that's the best part of having a number of people there is you have guys who do a lot of design, but you also have people who do a lot of everything else. And that balances everything out because one of us can say, well, put on your just your design hat. What would you do that specific task as a designer? Or are you, as one person, taking the designer hat off and putting on, say, a analysis hat?
So how far, I mean, a lot of us do design from the RF side, and then it comes back to the APs, and then the switch fabric and the controllers over here, and the whole QoS bit is part of wireless design, but it has nothing to do with RF.
Right, so there is that balance too, which we also set kind of the importance of different responsibilities and tasks, and also setting the level of complexity for something. So there are going to be sections where we had really tough discussions in there. Like it got heated. Nothing about table flipping or anything, but really deep discussion. No table flipping.
That's AP. That's the next one.
That's probably the AP part because that's I think a tougher one. But we were able to really have good discussions around, okay, this is what a designer does, and where does we would throw tasks out there, and we'd actually talk about it and say, is this person responsible for this? And we'd all come to an agreement and go, no, that's not. There is some overlap into maybe an analysis part, but in the design role, we'd come together as a group and say, that's not the biggest part of a designer. They may have to when that network gets deployed as part of the validation phase, and maybe some optimization after some validation. But it's really just discussing with amongst your peers and really trying to figure out what is the designer role. It's hard.
And
it's very hard.
CWNP is so vendor neutral.
It is.
And yet design is
so. Oh yeah, I threw out a lot of. I threw out RRM. Like should a designer know RRM or ARM? Right, and so
Air match.
Okay, so I wasn't at the conference. So I threw that out there, but just as a discussion point, because a lot of us do deal with those too, right? But so we renamed it to dynamic radio management. It's like a different term, so it's a little vendor neutral.
Even as the generic term is it included?
Yes, we included a generic term. We didn't put in a vendor term.
You actually came up with a term. You guys came up with a term that I thought was really interesting.
So in the group, coverage areas is usually a big common thing, right? We design these coverage areas, and we decided to rename that as a requirement area, because if you fill the requirements, one of those requirements is coverage.
Coverage is just a subset of the requirement.
And when we have thought about wireless in the past, it used to be just coverage. right?
That was before you were out of elementary school.
That was when I was dealing with
before you and I were doing
8211.
wireless.
This is when I was like, what is this wireless device?
What's that green stuff on the map?
But that was something that we talked about too, because if you have a coverage area, you may not be fulfilling the other requirements, right? Which would be capacity, maybe. So we redefine that as a requirement area, which has, coverage, application requirements, even business requirements, technical requirements. Mm-hmm. So it encompasses all of that.
It's interesting now, because now you think about it, your requirement areas can be different inside of the same building.
Yes.
They can also be different based on frequency.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I have a requirement for 2.4 to be here and a different requirement for 5 gig. You could even have a separate RTLS requirement that overlays them all.
And don't forget BLE requirements now. That's a big thing now.
Yeah, and that's,
That's been a big one this week, is BLE.
That's the gist of the job task analysis. And right now, as
what's the next phase? So
next
you guys
phase,
met together and you talk.
We talked. We came up with these. Yeah, we came up with these responsibilities, the tasks, and the tools. Now it's coming up with, objectives for each of those major responsibility areas.
And then after objectives, they'll come up with a blueprint.
I believe so, which I don't think I would be part of.
And then normally that branches into course development and exam,
yes.
and they kind of take the same blueprint and split it between them.
Which the people in the JTA wouldn't be part of.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. I like to see that they're actually going through and reevaluating, because a lot of people have had some questions about the test, and so it's nice to see them working and listening.
Yeah. But even then, with that, one of the questions was, how often should this exam be renewed, right?
So how often does technology change?
And that was a big discussion too. It's like, well, the standard itself, like the vendor technology changes fairly often, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe every year or within 3 years. But the standard itself, that takes much longer. And some of these vendors come out with stuff.
Could you tie that cycle change to a big change in IEEE? Like when it gets ratified, and that doesn't happen all that often.
No. And those were part of the discussions that were, I think, tough to really nail down. Like, I don't think there's, with technology changing so often and some taking longer than others, it's kind of hard to say, well, this certification should last this long, for example. But I think we stuck with 3 years.
I've been teaching some of this stuff for 20 years, and it hasn't really, the core of it, if you go back to the original CWNA book that Devin Aiken wrote, well, before it even went to Cybex, 80% of that book is still as valid today as it ever was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I still have those books too.
Yep.
I keep the old books because that has like a plethora of information in there.
I use them to reference all the time. Mm-hmm. Good books. So that was Roel. What were you doing this week, Keith?
I was here at Atmosphere working with Tech Field Day. Oh, should look at the camera. Hi, Tech. Hi, guys. And Tech Field Day has been doing mobility field day and wireless field days and networking field days. They do an extra field day at either Cisco Live. This one happened to be at Aruba Atmosphere. We get to give feedback and hear some deep dives from the people that are here. They actually I've attended one session all week.
This morning.
Yeah, it was this morning. They keep us pretty busy, loaded up, both talking with there are people. Yesterday we did a live, panel discussion.
Yeah, that was really good.
And so, and then their expectation for us is just to go blog. And so there's a lot of cool ideas. We'll pick. They give us very little, if any,
direction.
Go do it. Yeah. Write what you need to write. We did do some fairly pointed feedback to the people who are doing the live Wi-Fi at the conference, especially during the keynotes. It's a gutsy thing that they do here at Aruba. They not just eat their own dog food; they're eating next year's dog food. I mean, they're running alpha and beta code with 3,000 people live doing live things.
That's very.
So, what was your favorite thing that you have seen today?
I think. I'm an analytics guy. I'm a statistics guy, so I like Net Insight, and there's some really cool things coming along with that. But the fun one was they're running green Wi-Fi. Basically, using Net Insight to track usage patterns, they turn off APs as people don't use them. And so they had to show the video.
Some eco stuff.
of while the conference is in session, 3,000 people in a room. As they leave, they start turning off more and more APs, and then as they go over to training, these light up. They go over to the lunch area; those light up, and as the crowds move, the AP traffic moves with it, saving a lot of energy.
I find that interesting is the AP has to boot relatively quickly.
Actually, they've looked at that booting, and they don't shut it all the way down. They put it in like a hibernating mode.
Okay.
Because if you turn it all the way off, one you can't ping it, and it will trip a whole bunch of alarms going, oh no, AP's down.
Yeah.
So we need the Ethernet side up still,
okay.
But we turn the radios down.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's nice.
And what was the biggest takeaway for you at this conference as part of being Tech Field Day and a different perspective? Because then we'll get to Robert, who is an attendee.
There's really smart people everywhere. Some of the things, and I don't know, and I'm not the coding kind of guy, but API is moving forward.
Okay, so this is a big thing.
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
Okay,
if you thought APIs was a joke, and that's a fat nope.
Oh yeah, and
they're here.
And we had Jake and Ryan do a 3-day boot camp, and then also a deep dive at WLPC on Python. And though your 3D printing was a great boot camp,
yes.
Just include some APIs.
Yeah.
Just include some APIs in there.
Oh no, we're gonna start. We're gonna do coding in the next version of the class. You'll code to get your printer working.
Well, we had to do that anyway.
Yeah, we did.
Actually, we had you do the coding and then made our printers work.
So how about from you, Robert, your perspective as an attendee at Atmosphere?
This was a really interesting event. I'm not by any means a Aruba guy. In fact, to be honest, I've never actually played with an Aruba AP. So I need to go check out the lending library over here now.
Yeah. So what do you think then, as a really good look at Aruba Atmosphere, the products that they have, the ecosystem?
I liked that this was a wireless specific conference. I liked that everybody here, for the most part, has some kind of job around Wi-Fi. And again, there were a lot of good sessions. I mean, they were all about the sessions. I think there was a total of 10 vendor booths here, maybe 15.
Yeah, that wasn't the focus.
No, and that's not the focus, because you go to these conferences and it turns into a show floor. It's like, it eventually becomes a smaller version of CES, which I love that, but I don't go to CES to learn, I go to have fun. Where here, it's all about the learning. Like, you and I were talking about the conference, or the session this morning, the basics, RF nuts and bolts.
Great session.
It was done, I think it was Eric Johnson was doing it, and he starts breaking off physics, and I'm not a math guy, but I mean, there were some charts in there that I was like, wait, oh, that's right, that's how,
Yeah.
And then Net Insights is really cool. I saw that session, they basically used University of Washington, and essentially they're taking analytics and taking data and just correlating into basically anything you want at this point in time. I really see that platform.
Yeah, the part of that is knowing there's so much, you have to know what do I even want.
How do you segment it?
How do you even ask the right question? But there are questions that come out from Net Insight that you didn't know the question existed until you see the data.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting to the point now where it's automatically grouping people based on their location. So like in our educational side of it, we have the sites where you have indoor APs for classrooms, but you have people outdoor because RF leaks through walls.
Yeah.
Slowing and interrupting the classroom, and they're like, okay, we can now classify this.
Yeah.
And
even not just classify where, but are they mobile or not mobile?
Yep. And then they're using SNR as a metric, which is exactly what needs to be done. I'm tired of RSSI as a thing.
Well, they're doing SNR from the AP side.
Yes.
They're not getting what the client sees.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what we need is more of these client
And
drivers.
the cool part from you guys both running university edu sites is the ability to have location not per MAC address. So it's not RTLS at all. It's just a set of data that says, here's the traffic flows by MAC addresses they're moving around.
Kind of leveraging your installation already without adding more.
Yeah, and there's no actual RTLS system. It's you just had 45 APs, saw one client probe, and then the math to figure out where that guy was.
Yes, you're a math guy though, so you probably. Can I see the algorithm, please? I'd like to see the formula. How you're doing that.
I actually sat right there and asked that very question.
So yeah, it's been.
But as a non-Aruba guy, what's your takeaway from Aruba?
I'm interested. They have a lot of
Does it get you
great
excited?
ideas. Yeah, they have a lot of great ideas, and Well, I think a lot of it, like Net Insights, I think we're a little early. I think it's a little new, but
it's a good start.
It's a good start. I mean, they have a base for something that could be. I'm getting to the point where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, we just have a DHCP error, and instead of me going, oh, you have a DHCP error, I've given it parameters where it goes, okay, that's a DHCP error. I need to go into my server. I need to clear out bad addresses and fix the problem.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of other, Mist, 7 Signal, NetBees. Oh, by the way, we didn't even mention Cape Networks got picked up this week.
That was a big one.
That
Cape.
Was a surprise.
Yes, congratulations, Cape, on
great
becoming
job.
part of Aruba.
Well, see, it's an intent.
An intent.
Yes.
You're
right.
Yet.
Yes, you're
but
right.
It shows a lot of what's happening with outside of the wireless vendors. You have these sensors. And
actually, that's where Rasa started in the sensor business. Got bought, became a year and a half or so ago, got picked up by Aruba. Aruba is now calling it Net Insight, and yet they still picked up Cape along the way to say, is there another set of data we need to see?
Well, I mean, it's almost like they picked up the software and the data analytics
it's
side
almost
of it,
like
and
they
then
said,
they're now grabbing the hardware, because that Cape sensor is a nice piece of hardware.
It's almost like they've been listening to us when we keep saying
that we want the
everything's coming
client
from the AP perspective.
Yeah. What's going on over this client thing?
So yeah, I'll be interested to see how they marry Net Insight with Cape.
Yeah. And does that mean NetBees is on the block someplace? I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, I think it raises some eyebrows now.
It does.
Right? It puts some eyes on them.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was a great week.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to talk about, but this is just the surface. But where can people find you?
WLANpros.com or on Twitter, Keith R Parsons.
And WLPC. If you're not there, you should probably be there.
Awesome. Well, anything else you want to conclude with?
I think I'm good. This is just a good week. Now I've just got to go home and try to let my brain calm down. These coming conferences, they're always like you're going into a fire hose, and it's even as an attendee.
Yeah.
I actually chose to drive down here, about a 6-hour drive or so, because I've been in that mode. And when you just go to the airport, you get on a plane, and you get home. The drive home allows me time to decompress and think through stuff.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good idea.
I don't know what's yours, about 10.
For me, it'd be about 8 to 10.
See, so you could have had a nice calming effect.
Yeah, but then I have to drive.
Yeah, well, there is that.
All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, comments, or want to share some of the feedback you've had at the Aruba Atmosphere conference, or if you have any questions about CWNP, just leave a comment down below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right. Bye. Hey, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the latest episode of the Wi-Fi of Everything. I hope you found it educational, entertaining, and you learned something. So please feel free to leave comments below. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know your ideas. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the notifications button and check out some of our other videos. So until next time, guys, have a good day.